There is a path forward through the myriad of problems and issues in our society today. There is a way to make it. And I'm about to show you that. And I'm also going to show you why what they claim is sustainable absolutely is not. Why it will fail, but there is hope. There's a way. So buckle up, guys, and let's see what I got to say. Here we are, guys. This is the great fix. Not the set of but the fix for you and me. Let's go forward now. Guys, we're facing war. We're facing potential for world war right now. There is war going on. This has become an age of war. The threats of war, the rumors of war, it's getting intense. What do? We're also facing the prospects of civil war. Nothing civil about it. And potentially nuclear war. We are facing grave threats, my friends. And the advent of AI, perhaps the advent of transhumanism. What does that mean? And of course, they always are offering up some great, wonderful new plague for society, for the whole world to face, and the controls that go with it. So how do we deal with all of these things? Well, it can be done. But look what's happening today. Our society has been a train wreck. In fact, we're having train wrecks everywhere, derailments going on, and major industrial accidents. And guys, so that leaves us all feeling quite very vulnerable. So what's happening is our society today is failing to meet the basic human needs. And that's what we have to address. How do we meet these needs? How do we get to where we need to be in a society with all the that's coming at us right now? And it's about to get a lot more intense. Reliance is not sustainable. They want us totally dependent, totally reliant, and it will not work. Why? Because our whole system, our whole world is put together, the world they want to pull us into, with lots and lots of long distributed systems, networks that are vulnerable at every inch and every mile along their pathway, pipelines, rail lines, power lines. And indeed, here is our electrical system, which is vulnerable all the way along its pathway. The wires, the towers, they're all vulnerable to be taken out with great mayhem. And our drinking water also has got its own sources, pipelines, pumping stations, filtration, cleaning stations, yes, water treatment centers. And it's got to get from all of those raw sources all the way to you, distributed through a myriad of pipes and networks, and they pump all kind of chemicals into it and hope somebody along the way just don't decide to add something else to the mix. And how do you ensure that? You cannot. And there's also sewage treatment. Now, that may actually be a water treatment. Kind of hard to tell the two apart. One goes in one way and one comes out the other. Well, you know how that goes. So there we go, guys. I think that's a water treatment. We have water treatments. We have sewer treatments. We got all kinds of these facilities. They are part of our critical infrastructure, and we got them everywhere. So we have the distributed systems, the long lines that have a lot of vulnerabilities, but the nodes where they all come together are potentially very vulnerable. We have our rail lines. Yes, our railways, passenger and cargo, which are vulnerable, as we've already seen lately, and they carry other vulnerabilities when they spill nasty stuff into our communities, contaminating our communities. And that happens also because we send stuff all over the country that might not ought to be sent all over the country. And our pipelines, yes, for our fuel and our water both travel along lots of pipelines, mainly fuel in this case. And sometimes we go to great extremes to pipe things in. This is a pipeline known as the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. It has to have special footings with radiators on it to keep the pipeline from melting the permafrost beneath it. I have walked upon that pipeline myself many years ago. And we have our communication systems. Yes, your cell phones. You love your cell phones. It's far more vast and complex than that. The internet, all the computer systems, the banking systems, television, radio, everything takes place through communications. It's a global system from end to end, and it goes all the way down to your cell phone, your TV, and your computer. This is a huge network. It's got so many vulnerabilities, it's not funny, including the potential to hack it. Finance. Finance is also a system because it's put together through many banks and systems of transactions. for the money to flow, and for us to have our economy functioning. There are many facets to it, and it has, Lord knows, we're seeing it has vulnerabilities today. And even our law enforcement is a system, believe it or not. It's not just the cop. He's networked in to a vast array of resources and networks from the 911 center all the way to getting to you. And medical, likewise, it's just the same from the EMAs all the way to the hospitals. There's a lot of stuff that comes into play to make this system work, including international importation of medicinals, which might be a problem now that China's talking about embargo on some of the root sources for the medicines that we use every day. So, but these are things we have to take into account. Fire. And this diagram kind of shows how it all ties together. Yes, our systems are dependent upon each other. Each system needs transportation, rail, to bring the components to make them work and function, but they also need power to make them go. Here we got rail and electricity integrated together through one system. And that just kind of underscores the intrinsically, how intricate, I can't even talk today, how critical all these things are to our overall infrastructure, how complicated it is. And as we can see, they all depend on, yes, power. Electricity is key to every one of these systems. Good old electricity. And it's got so many vulnerabilities, from hacking to people taking out power substations with kinetic attacks, to our node points themselves, like the power plants, to the transformers. I always worry about these big high voltage transformers, which are so big and heavy and vulnerable to such things as EMP, solar coronal mass ejections, which can put out the E3 waveform to take out our power grid, those big transformers. And worst of all is EMP. EMP puts out the E1, E2, and E3 waves. And one EMP right over Omaha, Kansas border, could take out the entire United States if detonated in low Earth orbit or from a very high ICBM. So this is what we're looking at, Dave. And it could take out lots of Canada and Mexico too, by the way. So this would be a very ugly scenario. And I got some worse scenarios I'm going to paint to you really soon based on the balloon paper I just did. So the cities are the crowning jewels of our civilization, supposedly. They are the epitome, the apex of what our modern society has brought to us. Yet they are totally dependent, totally reliant on all of those distributed systems working and working properly. And that includes food. There's other systems I did not include in here. Food is one of them. Yes, agriculture. There's many others: agriculture, mining, manufacturing, chemicals. There's a lot of other distributed systems I did not even mention that go together to make our society rise to those kind of heights. Well, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. But guess what? They want us even more dependent. They want to pull us more into this reliance, these dependencies. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Whatever you want, you'll rent and it'll be delivered to you by a drone. This includes your underwear. Holy guac and smoke-a-moly, guys. You'll own nothing. That's what they want. They want to put you in ISO shipping containers. That's how they want to house you. ISO, they want to put them rack and stack down by the railroad track where they can take you away to the gulag real expeditiously if they so desire. No, this is not where you want to aspire to be. So, and in fact, given time, this may well just look like this. Yes, this is in Tibet, my friends. Yeah, this looks pretty here, but when they implement it and they pack all the people in, is that what it's going to look like? Would it look like that? Well, there's people already living that way. Sad to say. Is this what the WEF wants for us today? Guys, I don't know, but that is a frightening prospect. They want to take the people off the country, take people off the land, and put us all in cities in these little dinky houses to make it all energy efficient, all efficient. Yeah, right, guys. That's their dream, man. That's their dream for all of us. So, and a surveillance society. More and more, we're being surveyed. More and more, we're being surveilled. All the agencies are looking at all our social media. All our social media is reporting. All our social media is controlling what we say. They're working hand in glove with the IBF. Turn that around. You know what I mean? The letters and other other agencies of the state that are so deep, if you know what I mean. Yikes, guys. You know, we've kind of let it happen to us. We're like these boiling frogs. We just kind of let this sneak up on us. You know what the frogs here saying? Doesn't it feel warm to you? And those says, don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. It's all okay. Yeah, right, guys. This is where we're at today. So we need to wake up. That's what this is all about, or else we're going to wind up here in this total totalitarian police state. It's not going to be pretty. That's where they're trying to take us right here, guys. This is their dream for our future. Everything totally under control. Totally under control. And you'll be controlled by your Sonoma, your implants, whatever. Completely controlled. As the tentacles of government and control come out from the halls of government and BlackRock and such places and tread their ways and tentacles all throughout the United States and all the people everywhere in the world, not just the United States, all the capitals and governments in the world and certain big corporations and entities like that. And a House of Klaus, of course. We can't forget the House of Klaus. So, oh yeah, and speaking of Klaus Schwab, Klaus Schwab, guys, here's the good news. We don't have to accept to join the Schwab board. We do not have to be in the Schwaber board, not in the House of Klaus. We can leave him over here on the left side burning and you know where. So let's move forward and let's reach out and grab for freedom. The path to freedom, what is it? Unplug, disconnect from their systems, unplug, disconnect. We don't need to be in their system. Unplug, go off grid and go to self-reliance. Self-reliance, that is the key of this whole presentation, to be self-reliant as much as possible. No man's an island. We need communities, but our communities can be self-reliant. We can have our own systems, our own trade. But hey, me, I kind of like to have my neighbors at some elbow distance away. In fact, I feel a little claustrophobic in where I'm at right now. But anyway, self-reliance, my friends, this is the key. This is the answer, and it's the only one that's truly sustainable. Why? Because all this rack and stack stuff and all the energy grid stuff, all this stuff they're promoting, it'll break down. It's all open for sabotage. It's all open to be taken down and crash, burn, and it will. It will fail. The sun will take it out. Something's going to end it, and it will all come crashing, smoking to a cinder, and will cease to exist, and all the people dependent upon it will starve. Here is the true path to freedom, the true path to self-reliance, the true path to the real green, right here. A homestead. This is the best thing in the universe, probably, for a person or family. This is the best place to raise kids. It's good for your soul to be growing things, to be out in the farm. Now, everybody can't do this. I understand. I'm going to get to that in a minute, how you can make up for this. And of course, this takes a certain bit of energy, and some of us are getting older. It gets harder and harder to do some of these things. But guys, this is the path forward. This is the freedom. This is self-reliance, as long as they won't come take us for lack of paying our property taxes. Oh yeah, there's that, right? That's something to deal with. But that's where hopefully our communities will start working together. So I got the survivaltribenetwork.org. Check that out. All right, guys. This is me. This is me. December, back 2 or 3 years ago, in Pasadena, California, in the big city thereof. This is in a city. There was like a 14-lane highway just right behind me here. I mean, just a lot over. This was this is definitely in the city. But guess what? This family here had the urban homestead. You know what I'm talking about? This family is amazing. On 1/10 of an acre, they grow all the food they need and originally fed 4 people except for the grain products. And they actually sold from this plot of land and made a living. They made a living on their backyard, 1/10 of an acre. I swear, guys, this family is their Dervaes family of Pasadena, California. Yes. And there's Jordan, there's Anise, and Justin from left to right, Dervaes. Their father, Jules Dervaes, unfortunately passed away. When I first met him, he was alive, and very inspirational people, all of them. It just makes you feel happy and warm to be there with them because they're such a great family. They're an inspiration to the point that I've come to call 1/10 of an acre a Dervaes unit, because I have based my concept upon that, a concept for a home you can make a living in and live out of and make a living in a habitat that's actually 1/10 of an acre. As I went here, they were working out of their backyard. And I looked, and they had a house, they had a front yard, they had a driveway. I go, well, in a garage, I thought, well, the roof of the garage, the driveway, the roof of the house, front yard, that's all wasted space. Except they did use the front yard for some social occasions, and that's good. So I thought, okay, we need some social occasion space, but we need to maximize growing space. So why can't you grow on the roofs? And I kind of combined that idea, that concept, with something similar in philosophy, at least with the Earthship home. This is not Earthship home. It borrows some from that. Yeah, it does borrow some from, but this is a different home. This has got a much larger growing area than an Earthship home, much larger, because this is their Dervaes unit habitat. So guys, this habitat inside of it, it's got actually 1/10 of an acre, and you can actually multiply that by using grow tubes strung up through the air. I'm going to show you that. You can actually multiply that a fair bit and get total closure to grow everything you need. Also, I'm going to come up with another video based on conversations I've had with Jason Avers. Check out Green, is a Green Agronomy channel on YouTube. He comes on my channel a lot. I'm going to do a video showing you how you can grow all your food on 1/10 of an acre. Everything you need, everything, beans, corn, squash, that kind of stuff, guys. I will be doing that in the near future. All right, here it is, that middle band there. I got to put on some coloring around it. Looking inside, you can see all the grow area, guys. This thing is loaded up with grow area. Now, it don't have to be this fancy. You don't have to have a fancy glass metal spar roof. It could be something far more earthy, far more affordable, but this looks nice. It makes for a beautiful presentation. And those little TV-looking tubes on the right are intended to be actually photovoltaic arrays. But you can actually integrate that into the ceiling and use the walls, actually walls there. You can use the walls to grow on too. You can grow everywhere in here. This is another view looking at it from the outside. So guys, this shows a garage coming in entry with like a driveway all the way to the back underneath, and like this particular scenario has a full basement from front to back. I will show you different variations that talk about it in different ways. They don't have to be like that. You could just have one level. You can have a yard and a house and cover it over. It just depends on what you can afford. But it's better if you can have a basement, far better if you can have a basement. But these walls are 2 foot thick. That's what's key here. Tremendous solar mass. Solar thermal mass is the key to this. This is what's going to store the heat during the daytime and release it at night, and give you a lot of thermal stability, especially within the housing area itself. So let's show you a little bit of that. Again, looking inside, look at all the grow area. This is the living area. That's the living room. That's a little bar. The kitchen's back in here. You got an open conservatory or terrarium right here. There's a study over here, and the bedrooms are on back, around back. So you'll see more of that in a little bit. And you're growing up here on the top. There's a window on the top too. Some stairs up here to get up there. And these stairs could be metal grate, make it easier to grow underneath like lettuce and stuff. And you could have even hoops over them growing on top. But this is a key. You don't have to have my habitat. You can do elements of this habitat concept in any home, any place, building. You can have thermal mass. This is one way to accommodate thermal mass. Just put cages of rocks, water, barrels of water, rocks, bricks. So here's another piece of the puzzle. It's to have tubes running through the ground that you pull air up through the ground into the habitat. And that air, if it's in the wintertime, will be warmed up to the temperature of the ground, once it's below the frost level, which tends to be in most places in the United States about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Some places is a couple of degrees cooler. But 55 degrees in the wintertime is pretty warm. Now, you can heat that up once it gets in the house, and it won't be as hard to heat, or you can use heat pumps or other things to get extra advantage. But that gives you an advantage over the colder outside air, typically. And furthermore, in the summertime, that same air is going to be about 55 degrees, and it's going to cool you down when it's hot. So it can warm you up when it's cold, and it can cool you down when it's hot. And the thermal mass of the house will do a lot of the same. And of course, you only need to pull this air in when you need it. And furthermore, if you could seal this entire house, you could put HEPA filters on here and filterize the air so that if there's plagues or chemical warfare or bad stuff going on outside, you could filter that mess out and have clean air to breathe in here. And what's going to pull the air through? What kind of big fan are you going to use? It's going to be the heat of the sun on the greenhouse outside. You open a vent panel and it'll just go woof up. There you go. There's your doorway to the tube inside your house. And this shows in Earthship how they implement this. They've got these cords here that go up to vents on the top that they open and close to let the air out. Now, see, this in Earthship don't have a big greenhouse area. It's a far different concept in the way it's constructed and what I'm showing, how it's laid out. But there's some similar principles in thermal mass, some underground, and airflow. I'm borrowing that. But there's other structures that use those same kind of principles, not just Earthships. Earthships didn't invent it. There were greenhouses that did that prior to that. And here's another concept you can employ into that to further cool the air if you so choose, especially going in the greenhouse portion. Down here at the end of Sustainable Harvesters greenhouses up in Texas, just northwest of Houston or Spring, Texas, they got these things called swamp coolers back here, evaporative coolers. I've got these in my greenhouse, or I had them in my greenhouse. I'm still there. I got to repair. But you pull air through these. Now, this uses fans to do it, and water is drizzled down in these big panels and evaporates out and provides evaporative cooling. That will even work in Texas where the humidity is high. It works there. This place don't even use shade cloth in our greenhouse. I use shade cloth on mine. But this is an amazing technology. Or it's especially great in the desert. It's astonishing in the deserts, but or drier climates. So this is one thing you could do to further cool your air. Now, let's look at energy. Let's think about this whole thing as a function of energy. You can save enormous energy with a home like this. This is the greenest concept anybody's ever come up with. I say you can eliminate good portions of each of these pie segments here. Over 50% of the energy we only consume a year could be easily, readily dispensed by people living in homes like this. Of course, residential, you could easily take care of most of this residential energy. I'm going to show you that the only residential energy you should have, you could easily accommodate with solar panels. And you'll probably have extra solar power if you want it. So you can probably produce a lot more power than you need for residential purposes. Transportation, you're living and working out of your home. You're not going to need to be driving so much. You can get rid of a lot of this transportation energy. And in fact, you're not going to be importing your food. Your food's not have to be so much coming from farms and being shipped to warehouses and grocery stores, and you go get it. Processing centers, you're going to eliminate a lot of that, which also eliminates some of this industrial and eliminate some of this commercial. Oh yeah, and you're working out of your home, not out of an office, and you're going to lessen the needs for grocery stores and some other things that require commercial real estate. So you're really going to reduce the commercial sector, the industrial sector, the transportation sector, and especially residential sector. The main two sectors you're going to make the biggest hits on will be residential, transportation. The third largest would probably be commercial, and a fair bit on industrial. You'll be taking segments out of each of these. Greg, how do we do industrial? I'll show you. Look at this big basement area. Now, this concept, now, like I said, you could just have this, and you don't need that if you don't have this. The only reason we got this growing up here is I said, hey, if we're going to put a driveway in, we're eating up my growing area, I want an upper balcony to grow vegetables on. And so that's why we come up with that. So to maximize the growing area. But the way my architect grew it, she had a green growing area in half of the basement. So I had this all open, my original concept. I'll show you that in a little bit. But she had a growing area down here, and I'll show you how you can do that, how you can take care of that in a minute. But she's also got a side of the basement that she left for other industrial type purposes, including a garage, but not entirely a garage. So man, we got a lot of storage area underneath this ramp too. Wow. Okay. Bing, bing, bing. 3D printers. Well, you can put 3D printers in your basement. With 3D printers, you can make a lot of the stuff that you're buying today. 3D printer technology is advancing rapidly. And there's all kinds of designs out there available. You can manufacture between you and your neighbors. Now, maybe one person has one kind of printer, somebody's got another kind of printer. Y'all might specialize in who does what kind of parts and things like that. But you could have a little trade in your neighborhood. You could also put lathes. You could put milling machines in your basement. You could put looms in your basement. You could put all kind of things in the basement. I'll show you some other ideas in a minute. The different things, so you can have your own industry. Server farms, all kind of stuff in your basement. You can work from home like I do, office work. You could do, but you could do like the Dervaes family. Your work from home could be your garden. You could live out of that house just gardening. All right, guys, here are the energy inputs and outputs in the United States of America. 11.62% of our energy comes from coal. We got, and this includes what we export too. We got 33.42 from natural gas, crude oil 2.4. Look here, we got nuclear at 8.13. You know, if we're eliminating so much other stuff, I think we could get rid of nuclear power. You know, I worry about those spent fuel polarized. If we won't bury that stuff, then why are we still accumulating that stuff? Renewable energy is mighty small here when this 2021. Now, some people have told me recently it's 22%. According to this, it's 12.22%. That's pretty puny. Considering we're about to put all these electric cars on the grid, that is puny. That's growing, but that's still puny. But here's what gets me, guys. This is the one that cinches it for me, guys, right here. Of all this electrical system output, see this volume-wise kind of represents the total BTU's output. But this is all that's left to consume. Why do we go from something big to something little? Because the electrical energy system has a loss rate of 65%. So what? You got to be kidding me. We lose 65% of our power in transmission? Yeah, we actually do. Most of the power produced in this country is lost in transmission. Now, when you consider such a puny portion produced by renewable energy, and so much of it is fossil fuels, the fact that you're going to force our economy over to electric cars using a system that's already so inefficient, I already knew it was inefficient. Holy guac and smoke and moly. On top of that, it takes a lot more energy to build those cars, the batteries, their blood minerals going to making those batteries and those cars. Guys, where is the green in this approach? Where is the green? I think it's in somebody's bank account. That's where I think the green is. It's not green energy, it's green to somebody. So, guys, I don't see it. I fail to see the advantage that as we're constructed today, where they're pushing us hard in our economy, where they're trying to push the world. What I see is control. Electric cars are controllable because they can turn them off, and they can control them a lot better than they can our gasoline cars. That's what I think. It's all a game of controls. It ain't got nothing to do with true efficiency as far as I can see. How can it be about efficiency when you got a 65% loss rate in the generation and transmission of electricity? It is not about efficiency, and it cannot be unless you're producing the power at home. Now, you could do that. But what happens when you got to travel? Long distance travel, and you got to wait behind other folks that's got a 30-minute recharge at the pump, whatever they call it, the charger station. If you're number 5 in line, good luck with that. You're going to be there a few hours. Holy smoke, guys. Yeah, that ain't going to make for a fun cross-country trip. Or what happens in the wintertime? Or what happens to your electric car when the grid goes down? Bzzz. You're on a bicycle. Yeah, I'm keeping my gas guzzler. The heck with that. Oh, yeah, but even with gas guzzler, still, if you're commuting to work, you're burning a lot of gas. You see, guys, how much do you burn? Just think about how much you would save in gasoline, how much you're going to save in your utility bills from home because you're not needing power. And we're going to look at that some more. Now, the cool thing is you might not need everything you'd go shopping for if you live in a community that's got most of the stuff nearby. This is the idea of my little habitat here in a community. Maybe on a terrace on the side of a hill or a mountain. Actually, this was drawn to be something else, but it could be a terrace on the side of a hill or a mountain, or maybe inside of a big floating platform. An ocean or floating elsewhere. We'll go into that. In-use consumption rates shared by U.S. homes. Here, in the homes, this is space heating. On average, it's 43%. This is your air conditioning. Imagine if you could eliminate the space heating and the air conditioning by using between the ground, your solar mass in your walls, the air you pull through the ground, and the greenhouse. Those 3 things, you could eliminate most of this. Yeah, you still might want a little spot space heating and cooling, but you could eliminate the lion's share of this. And what's this? This is hot water heat. Well, holy smoke, guys. It ain't nothing to put a little solar panel out there to do hot water heating for your hot water heater. You could eliminate this too. You could eliminate all this. What's the 5%? It is for lighting. 3% is refrigeration. Yeah, you probably still need some refrigeration, but maybe not as much if you're picking fresh and eating it right away from your garden. So you're going from garden to fork instantly. And what's all other? Well, I don't know what all other is. I bet we could take a chunk out of that. So if you needed I would say you could eliminate all this. This is like 71%. I believe you could take 71% of your energy needs and get rid of them. And the rest of the power, you could easily handle with solar arrays or a windmill. solar arrays, windmill, or combination thereof easily. And I'm working with some guys that's got some really awesome windmill technology, guys. Holy smoke. I'm going to talk about that later, not today. But man, it's a lot better than anything we've seen so far. It is amazing. So we have to see where that's going to go. But guys, we could totally change this, totally, completely change. Oh, yeah. And you could have other fuel for your internal combustion engines. We don't have to get rid of the internal combustion engine. All right, here, guys. Here is the concept of putting photovoltaics in the roof of your greenhouse. Now, most greenhouses put shade cloth on anyway. So this means you don't need shade cloth so much because you got these photovoltaics built into the greenhouse. So what they do is they convert sunlight directly to electricity. As you know, you only need about 5 or 6 kW for a house like this, if that. If you covered the entire roof with photovoltaics, you'd be selling energy to the grid. But I would be disconnected, even though, listen, Mike, what's his name? Mike Reynolds, I believe, who's the garbage warrior. He calls himself. He does the earth ships. He is a purist. He will not connect into the grids or anything else because his house is supposed to be off grid. I'd say, hey, but they won't let him build his houses in most places because of that. So because the code won't allow it. His houses don't comply with code. Okay, connect the grid. But the only thing I'd connect to the grid would be the solar arrays I'm selling them electricity with. Do not connect your internal house systems to the grid. Why? Because the grid's not safe. Why? The grid will burn your house down in EMP. And no, those little chintzy devices aren't going to help you. So the grid puts you at risk. The grid puts you at a threat position. Don't connect. Unplug. Go off grid. Do not connect your main systems to the grid. But you might have part of your roof and some other little system outside that you might sell them some power if you so choose. Anywho, this is a greenhouse that's using those solar panels on it, guys. And look here, these tomatoes are growing like crazy. They got no issue. And here's another greenhouse. It's like it's growing lettuce, and it's got those solar arrays in it too. And now here's some solar array glass that they're integrating the photovoltaics into and proposing to use these in these like big cityscape towers, but they could work too just as well. So that glass has solar array built into it. So here we are coming back to our home, showing it. We got a lot of grow area, lots and lots of grow area. Now look, see here I showed little tubes like aquaponics or hydroponics growing even in front of the main windows. You could do that. You can put in so much more grow space. Now this is my architect. I'll show you her picture in a little bit. This is like the roof. This is the main ground level floor, and this is the basement. Now, my original concept, I had a basement. I didn't park in the basement. No, I said you could. I thought I'd come in from the back if it was just an earth-based place. But I got other reasons not to elsewhere. But this I was going to have open. I was not going to have a floor up here. She's got a floor all the way across, and she's got us growing in the basement. She's got no growing over here. And that gives you a lot of growing room. That gives you 50% more growing room. What I had was like, this was going to be a ground level. So it was going to be an area that you'd grow at. But I was going to put tubes across here and tubes all the way across in the air up here too for growing either aquaponics or hydroponics, preferably aquaponics. This is a little conservatory she's showing here. This is a bathroom, I guess, to go with the main bedroom, kitchen area. Yeah, we'll see that in another view here. Again, this was my rendition of it. I drew a big back wall because I drew this to go on a terrace. I had a little road here in the front. I come up with a little terrace concept. Well, like I showed earlier. Guys, you can build floating cities in the ocean or elsewhere. Here's my aquaponics tubes. You see, I had a big water tank here. This is growing on the ground. This is my aquaponics tubes. This is the surface from here. I haven't been growing up this wall, growing these walls. There's a lot of possibilities where you grow. I had a workshop. Oh, yeah. By the way, the living quarters up here is 2,300 square feet because it's half of a tenth of an acre. Hey, this is a 20th of an acre. The whole plot of this is a tenth of an acre. This is also 23 square hundred feet. Imagine a workshop, this 2,300 square feet. What could you do in that? You could come up with a lot of stuff. Now, here's the grow tubes like I've shown you. And again, gardening, it's good for your soul, guys. It's good for your spirit. It uplifts you up to grow things. It's a nurturing thing. It is absolutely medicinal and good for you to grow things. Now, it's also good for your habitat. It's good for the air. But it's good. Exercise, you know what you're eating, but also some people can't do it. Some people are just too busy. Some people have physical ailments. Well, you could share crop out your grow space. So yeah, the Dervaes family does all that fantastic growing they do on raised beds, just raised bed gardening. No high tech, nothing. All raised bed gardening. They do amazing. And you could do the same thing. All your garden plots could be raised bed. You don't need the aquaponics and hydroponics like I show them, but you could have that if you chose. It's all up to you. But say you can't do this and you don't want other people coming in your place to share crop. There's another alternative that's coming up really fast. Robotics. This is about a 10-year-old picture here. I think maybe 15 years old of a little CNC machine robot that somebody designed to grow a garden plot, a robot for a garden plot. Well, this is, you don't have to have it all pegged down now. You can make this totally mobile and move around from raised bed to raised bed to raised bed. So you could do CNC controls, and there's software. There's software to get rid of weeds, software to identify your vegetables, software to get rid of bugs. There is software to feed and water and nutrient your plants as needed, where needed. They got amazing software already developed. In fact, that's been done for a few years, and it's advancing with AI systems coming aboard. What you could do for garden bots is incredible. Here is a field version. This garden, this agricultural robot here, this robotic tractor, it's got planters and all kind of stuff associated with it. It can do all kind of things. Anything a farmer could do in a field, this robot could do it faster and probably better. So there you are, guys. It's amazing the technology that's coming up. You wouldn't have to do this yourself if you didn't want to. New, smart, autonomous robot. This technology is growing in leaps and bounds. So if you weren't up, basically your garden could grow itself with robotics. So what will you do? Yeah, what would you do if you're living by selling your garden? Well, you can market it. I don't know, maybe Chat GPT will market it for you. It'll help you. It'll definitely help you market your garden. Holy smoke. All right, here's a floor plan like I drew it, but I knew that was kind of sucky. So I hired an architect, and here's the basement level. Now, she has 2 cars in here. You might decide you don't need 2 cars since you're not having to work out of home. But you might want 2 cars. You might want 2 big gas guzzling hot rods. I don't care. You're going to be living so green. You'll still be greener than anybody today because you ain't going to need to go to work on a regular basis. And you can, a little flat area here. Then you got the ramp to drive up. And then here's just a wide open workshop area that's really big. Now, you could come in here if you're not in this habitat I'm showing here. You don't have to have this long driveway inside here. That was for the purpose of where we're at. There's a little stairwell. This is looking down in the garden in the basement. This is the next level up. This is the ground level garden. This is the living room. You could see that earlier looking through the window. This is that little bar with the stools around. You saw that looking through the window. This is the kitchen area. This is master bedroom, walk-in closet, bathroom, another bedroom, closet, bathroom, bedroom. This is a 3-bedroom home with 2 studies, private study and a more public study. So it's got 2 studies, guys. Imagine that. One for the kids and one for one of you. Or you can put a study down in that basement. You can do anything in the world in that basement. Get tons of room. If you select to have a basement. It's not a necessity, but I think you really would want it if you could do it. Again, now this is on top of the house. This is the so-called roof. This is looking down the conservatory. There's some windows. I actually proposed that the walkways just be the great stuff. She thought that looked kind of tacky. I think we could paint it and make it look pretty. But anyway, this is a different little floor plan drawing, conservatory. This is a detailed floor plan of the bedrooms, the walk-in closet, the bathrooms. So she did a lot of good work. And this lady really did some excellent work. Oh, now I put some, this is the picture size here. I put some dressing around the picture for the purpose of the presentation. This is another view looking down obliquely. This is where your plants are just starting to grow. Now, this is a bigger conservatory here. Just to give you an idea what a conservatory is. Yeah, that's a lot bigger. This is the grate I was really kind of interested in. This is looking straight down, whoop, right over the roof, right into the conservatory. Yeah, you got these skylights. You'd probably want something you can pull over them so people can see down your bedrooms and stuff, but colored glass or some kind of blinds on them. I suppose blinds would be the best choice. But that's a beautiful concept there. It is pretty. Now, this is looking out See, the living section be behind you. So this is cut the living section apart from purely growing section. Up here, downstairs, upstairs, this is all growing area. Of course, the roof of the living section is growing area too. So we got a lot of growing area, and you can grow on the stairs, especially if they're metal grate or sunshine through. Lettuce likes to grow in the shade because it likes it cold, by the way. So a lot of stuff. Now, so, and this again is that garage. Now the kids love to play there. Skates and whatever, bicycles. I used to love stuff like that. So a lot of playroom still. So this is the house, guys. You might choose if you had this wide open down here, and was you could have a play area down there, and you could put aquaponics tubes up here and still get a 1/10 of an acre of growing area easily, guys. Let's look into the growing area from the basement level. This is my drawing of it again with those aquaponics tubes. Now you could have made this a courtyard, just a play area if you got really active kids, dogs, whatever. Some dogs in it. Now, what could you do in that basement? Grow microgreens like I do. That's in a trailer. I used to grow those in my living room. Yeah, you can grow microgreens. You can grow mushrooms. You can grow worms. You can grow all kind of stuff. Or you can have a lathe, a loom, 3D printer. Now, this is actually intended to be outside, but this shows aquaponics system. Well, you can do that in there too. Yeah, amazing choices. Again, this is another view looking up. We got some good sized plants growing in it in this rendition. Some little palms of some type. Just to give you an idea of what it could be, what it could look like. So this is a beautiful concept. Beautiful, beautiful. These are the solar panels. They don't have to be there. They could be, or they could be on the walls. I would have something like this toward the kitchen in the back for hot water for the kitchen and bathrooms. And it would be direct solar heating panels like I built for my greenhouse. I can build these guys to heat hot water easy. And here's the roof, big solar roof. Another view. And she kind of gave me a frosty view. That's kind of cute. Hope it don't get frosty inside, but you know, that's kind of cute. And here she is, Beige, Effie Beige. She drew all this stuff up for me. She made my concepts look pretty. She's an architect, and here's her email. Contact her, hire her. She's great. I highly recommend her, and she's got a big smile, and that's where her personality is. Her personality is all sunshine. All right, a lot of people say, oh my God, that's going to cost a fortune. You can build it from garbage. There's Mr. Reynolds actually building from garbage. Tire walls. You know, he builds his earthships with tire walls and bottle walls. And bottle walls are beautiful. He covers all this up. What he does, he takes these tires, you see he's leveling it all up. You know, he actually controls this very precisely. He's got his own techniques. You follow him, subscribe to him to get that. But he pounds the earth into these tires with sledgehammers. Now, if material cost is your concern, you could get by with almost zero material costs or very little material costs, but this is going to take a lot of labor. If labor is cheap, if it's your labor, your family, if you get volunteers, that's great. If labor is expensive, there's other alternatives. This is a sandbag house, probably less labor, a little bit higher in materials because you're probably buying sandbags, but it's a lot cheaper than a lot of other construction techniques and can still have a lot of thermal mass. Now, I would use really wide sandbags, maybe lots of them. Now, these guys framed it up here. You don't have to frame up sandbags. Most people pile them up using 2 strands of barbed wire on each lower level of sandbags and put the next sandbag up on top of that barbed wire, and it really holds it. That's what they do here. It's like a beehive, right? There's all kind of architectures possible with sandbag architecture. Sandbags are cool. I'm thinking about doing some building with sandbags myself. Oops, let me take cursor off there. Or you can 3D print it. Now you go, oh my God, that's expensive. No. Now this would make the habitat look like the ones Effie drew up. That Miss Beige, she drew up. You can build it look just like that by 3D printing. And 3D printing, believe it or not, see, look, here's mason, typical mason. Here's what the 3D printer does. Well, I would put dirt in. I would go back and just fill dirt or sand or dirt or something in the 3D printed section, and I'd make it thick. So it might be a little bigger for my scenario than, say, a regular masonry wall. But look, the cost savings is you save a lot of labor, and you save about 40%, so 46%, almost only. You only build this at almost half the cost of a regular house. least for the walls. And now they're 3D printing entire houses, including roofs, guys. So you could save almost half the cost of building a building by 3D printing it, and it would happen, bing, real fast. So there you go, my friends. There it is. You could save a ton of money. 3D printers are cheap for this, and they're probably going to get a lot cheaper over time as they get more. People say, oh, well, great, we've got too many people in the world. How are you going to do all this? There's too many people. No, there's not. If you took all of this, hey, look, you can grow all your food. You can literally grow all the food you need in a habitat like this. I'm going to show you. You can grow everything you need in a habitat like this. And my friends, if you took the peak projected population in the world at 9 billion people and put them all in habitats like this, the total area it would take for all those people in the 10th of an acre plots for them to live in would be about the size of Texas and New Mexico. Everybody on earth, you could pack them all in Texas and New Mexico, or half of Alaska, just half. Yeah, just half of Alaska. Everybody on earth at the maximum population. Of course, I would never pack all the people together in one spot like that. That would not be good for transmission of diseases, and some folks don't get along with each other all that great and wonderful. So I believe we need everybody spread out. We'll put some in the ocean. We'll put some in space or the atmosphere. Yeah, that's doable. Feeding the population takes 1,996 calories as of 2011 for the average fat American. That's how much we need. There it is. 31 pounds of cheese, 85 pounds of fats and oils. We eat about 273 pounds of fruit. You can definitely grow that. 417 pounds of vegetables. We can grow that. Cheese, well, we can get a goat. We can put that goat in that basement. Food press, especially if you use walking grates for to get some light down there and grow some grass over the walkways. Yeah. The Dervaes family of Pasadena, California grew, oh yeah, this talks about pounds. Okay, it's 19, not calories, 1,996 pounds of food per year, pardon me. The Dervaes family grew 7,000 pounds of food per year on a 10th of an acre. So that would be the total food for 3.5 people. Like I said, they do everything but the grain products. They did buy grain. Grain's cheap. What they grew was high value, so they could sell and make a net profit. And they did that. But if you use aquaponics tubes and some other things, you could actually do feed 5.3 people out of that same space, like I was talking. Or there's other ways of increasing productivity on that. I cover that from other presentations. And we got extra growing area we could utilize to bring that up higher. And if you use the techniques I'm going to show in my next video on growing food, you can totally cover it. Totally cover it for 4 people. This is how many acres it take crop. Maybe how many people can feed on an acre. It goes, man, maybe about 1 to maybe 100,000. Depends on how you do it, guys. 1 to 100,000. Holy guacamole. Well, friends, you might ought to start growing. Check out my leaves. I'll be in the links in the video in the show notes and the link notes to True Leaf Market. Get your seeds now. It's spring. Plant. It's time to plant. Grow your own food. Start your own path to energy and food independence, to self-reliance. And here's also Eden Brothers. So this is inside an earthship. Just to give you some idea how my habitat would be similar to this. It would look kind of like this inside, except more growing area, more greenery. But just give you some ideas of what's possible. Yeah, we could use some of their techniques. But this is the habitat concept of mine, scaled up bigger. One of my friends did this in a simulation. This is a simulation you can walk around in, fly in, walk through the rooms. This is in Kitely. And this is the Green Greg's habitat in Kitely, based on my habitat concepts, based on this one right here. And this was actually, though, an octagon, no, hexagon, excuse me. This was a hexagon approach. And you see my aquaponics, had a little log up here with mushrooms on it, fish tank, rabbits. Yes, there's some of you. So you got fish to eat, you got rabbits to eat. There was some worm beds down here. I was growing on the wall. I had my solar panels over here for photovoltaic. And as before, saw a lot about putting them up here. I had a grate to shine the sun through here. I had the aquaponics grow tubes up here at the middle level. And I had my solar panel here for hot water for the kitchen. I was going to collect rainwater off the roof. Oh, yeah, the earthships off a small portion of the roof collect enough water. If they recycle it through 4 steps, not complete recycling. I think we could do complete recycling, though. But they do that through 4-step cycle process. And in the desert up there in New Mexico, Taos, New Mexico, they're able to get all the rainwater to do all their water needs they need. They get only 10 inches of rain per year. So this is how you do this, guys. It is totally doable. And this is the equations I used to get the lengths and set the walls for this thing and looking at the side. We were actually looking through this way. It's actually, you know, that's kind of the narrow side. It's wider this way. But we was looking right on this angle here. All right, but the rectangular one is what I had her draw out. That's what I had Effie draw out. That was my rectangular version. Again, you see my aquaponics tubes. I had a little roadway there. Why do I have a little roadway there? You'll see in a little bit. Because I was playing around with the idea of putting it on terraces. Now, here's that habitat. There's your living area, your workshop. And I had a 50-foot tree in here. I wanted to be able to grow a 50-foot tree without obstructing the view of the guy above me. So it don't need to be that thick. It don't need to be that tight. So, so there it is. There's the habitat. There it is plugged in there. And here is the community album. But wait a minute. What's weird about this? A mirror, that is sunlight. What? Because this is a sky station. It's a balloon. And I sized it where it floated in Earth's atmosphere. Yes, this is big enough just with the difference of the solar heating inside to give enough buoyancy to totally fly. In fact, it's over buoyant in Earth's atmosphere. In Venus's atmosphere, oh my God, it's way over buoyant. We'd have to put a lot of ballast on it. We'd have to put in, we'd have to dredge the ground of Venus. And actually, there are technology for scoops and materials that can survive the temperatures of Venus. You could actually dredge up stuff and bring it up for ballast. And that would be a good thing to do. There was my hand drawing of it. What could it look like inside? It could look like this. It could be beautiful. It could be gorgeous inside with plants. This is an airport, by the way. I think it's in Indonesia. Some friend sent me these pictures. I kind of stretched them out a little bit here to make them match my format here. But this is what it could look like. You could have plants growing everywhere. It could be beautiful inside. You could have a water park in the center. I got something like that in that habitat already drawn. That's what's really funny, why I thought it made such a neat match. So I did have a lake in the center. So this is beautiful. This is what it could look like in a community, especially if you build like a hillside community. You got a retirement area, you got a little resort or shopping areas. This is the way things ought to be. Architecture ought to be beautiful. It ought to integrate nature. This is my beginnings of where I plan to build one of these. This is my hole in the ground behind my house. This was originally intended to be built on the Mike Ayler concept. But, you know, hopefully I can still do that. I'm having some financial challenges right now, but I think I'll pull it off because this is my goal. One reason I did not set up a GoFundMe for my personal problems I'm dealing with is because this is what I want to do. If I want to do a GoFundMe, I want it to be something really productive like this. That's what I want to GoFundMe for, not for helping my rusty rear end out. I appreciate that. A lot of you have helped me out. I do appreciate it. But if I'm going to go through the effort of GoFundMe, I want to do something like that if I can. But I do appreciate all the help I got. Yeah, I'm being in a tight here. Anyway, hey, so say here we are. We made it. We got it. We got our habitat. We've made it. We have come into our own. We can grow all of our own food. We've got everything we need. We got energy. We don't have to pay for gas. We don't have to pay. Or you can make your own gas. Yeah, definitely. So you ain't gonna need gasoline. You ain't gonna need electrical power. You're not gonna need utilities. We can get rid of the utilities. We don't need all the office space in the world. We could rip up a lot of the pipelines and power lines. We're not gonna need it all, and use that metal and all that stuff for other stuff. Yeah, it's raw materials for other things. Just imagine this though, guys. Suddenly we don't need all the stuff. We won't have to fight commutes to work. More of us getting there. Suddenly our lives can be a lot more relaxing. We don't have to struggle in the rat race quite so hard. We'll still work. We'll still have jobs, but it'll be different. And we can live at home, work from home, grow our food. Know our food is fresh. It's clean. You won't have to be packaged in plastics because it's going straight from our garden to our plate. So you don't need all the packaging, all the plastics, less plants, less manufacturing, less train derailments, less mess. You see what I'm saying, guys? Oh, yeah, by the way, why don't they put those darn plastic manufacturing plants closer to where they mine the oils anyway? So the PVC raw stuff don't have to be transported across country. If they got to do it, let's be smart about it. Let's make it more that way if at all possible. Yeah, we have to do it in the past because, yeah, we had transportation with all these things covered. Well, guess what? It don't work no more, especially if we live in a world of discontent where there's terrorism and different groups. Yes, people are going to be making a mess. That's why these things are not sustainable, another reason. But, guys, if we got it all, we got it all. You got it right here. You got your home. You got everything you need right here. You don't even hardly need to refrigerate everything. Suddenly, you got your own little paradise. You're working from home, going your food from home, you're living out of home. Oh yeah, I don't care if you got a car. Travel, see things, go places, have fun. But you won't be burning as much energy, or you'll be able to do it because you want to, not because you have to. So now you got it made. The world is a beautiful place. There's no need to fight anymore. What are you fighting over? You fighting over resources? You got everything you need. You don't have to fight over resources. I bet all those batteries. There's water battery technology coming up. There's fuel cell technology. Guys, there's other stuff coming down the pike. We ain't going to need to fight over all this stuff we're fighting over. Let's be at peace. Let's get along. If you got worlds like this, habitats like this, you don't even need government. Not like we do today. Just think about it. So if somebody wants a war, somebody wants to do a conquest, somebody wants to stir the pot, you're going to say, why should I pick up my arms and go? They're going to give you a rifle or some kind of arm to go after your neighbors, the guy over the hill. He ain't done nothing to me. I ain't got no reason to go over there. I'm not going. Somebody gives him the stuff to come after you. Well, he's living the same way. He's going to tell them the same thing. So why do I want to do that? I don't want to do that. I ain't got nothing against that guy. He ain't done nothing to me. So there's the road to peace, guys. Let's take all the tension out of the system. Let's take all the things out of the system that cause people to want to fight each other. Let's just eradicate them, erase them, remove them. Self-reliance. That is the real key. Self-reliance is the pathway to peace, to prosperity, to disempowering all those egomaniacs who want to chunk up pieces of the world. Oh yeah, government still wants to grow. They want their tentacles out there, but we don't need them. What do we need from them? Guys, you can have your own retirement right there in your system, in your communities. Your health care could be locally taken care of. We could come up with alternate ways to do all the things that we rely on big government, which is so inefficient, which gives us the state of deep to keep us in the heat so steep. We can get rid of all that. Hey, that's all we need right there. Sheriff, local sheriff, maybe a little court. That's all we need. Yeah, they can be self-regulating agencies and government standard, industry standards. You can still have all that for, making sure that things are clean and pure. But we just don't need all the stuff that we've had. We just don't need it anymore. There'll probably still be 5 miles to Deadwood. That's where the whole government needs to go. So no need for Darth Klaus in his house, the house of Klaus. There's no need for that. Let's just say bye-bye to them and their kind. All those in the world who want their world orders, whether it be him or Xi Jinping and Putin are talking about new world orders. We don't need any world order. Let me rephrase it. We don't need any world order, anyone's world order. We need none of this stuff. So let's leave them here where they belong. But there are still challenges. We're not out of the woods yet, guys. We still got to prep. We got to prep and pray. We got challenges today. So we got people who are wanting war right now. So we still got to have, some of these people who apparently maybe want their own little empires. And then maybe he's not the only one. But guys, we do have to have peace through strength. I still believe in that, but I do believe we need to change the game. Let's go for self-reliance so we can no longer have to be a part of their game, that we can pull ourselves away. And let's encourage this around the world. Once the whole world gets there and adopts it, once other countries see people doing it, they'll adopt it. Once everybody's adopted this, the whole world will change. The whole world will change. That's what we're looking for. And this could be a part of the solution. This habitat, I hope, is part of it. Elements of this. You don't have to have this whole habitat. You could use pieces and parts. As long as you're being self-reliant on your place as much as you can, you're getting there. But I believe we can come up with systems to take us to total self-reliance. We're using thermal mass, solar, ground tubes, solar hot water, wind energy. There's a lot of options. Growing food, chickens, goats. Many, many paths here, guys. I think this is one idea that brings them all together and does it on 1/10 of an acre. It has you growing on your roof. That's why I come up with this concept. And I see it really going places. I'm going to build some prototypes. I may need your help when we get down to that. I got some other things to go through between now and then, but this is my ultimate goal, is to build these and go to a world where we can kick back and enjoy a beautiful sunset and not have to stress out over all the craziness that we have to worry about today. A place where your kids can grow, and grandkids and great-grandkids can grow and frolic and play in the forest and meadows on earth and beyond. So that, my friends, I'm going to say the end. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, click the update notification bell, and check all. And share. Please share this and share it widely. Well, I'm going to say thank you for watching it. Greg out.